Hello, so in this video we're going to use R for what it was actually made for. R is a statistical piece of software. It was built for data analysts. That's what it does best. So that's what we're going to use it for today. Now I've just got here some data which I've just pulled off the internet, some data about bodybuilders I think. Just some random data just to use as an example. Now you look at this, it's just in a text file. You can't follow this, you know, it hasn't been formatted, it's not in a table or anything like this. R doesn't mind. You know, as long as it's built in a relatively sensible way, R is able to extract this data really, really easily. I mean, I can kind of follow what's going on. You know, you can see along the top here, this is the different information that we've got, like weights, heights, urine, protein, energy, ammonium, nitric acid, etc., etc. And this is all the data in here. And then obviously, you know, for each bodybuilder, each time you start a new bodybuilder, you've got the text bodybuilder. So I can kind of see that at one point or another, this probably was in a nice table, but then because it's been saved as a text file, it doesn't know how to build it back into a table. But that doesn't matter. So first things first, we need to get this information into R. So I'm in R now. Now, there's a few different ways that I can get this information into R. First things first, I can set my working directory. Now, what is a working directory? Directory is just a fancy word for a folder, okay? And by default, when you open up R, it will be open within a certain directory. If you've got your data saved within that same directory, then you can just pull it in and you don't need to worry about setting up a file path. I'm going to do it the long way round, and I'm going to actually show you how you can get it in if you haven't got your working directory there. Just to let you know where your working directory is, if you come up here to the top toolbar, and if you click Session, and you come down to Set Working Directory, and then you click Choose Directory, then you can actually choose where your directory is. But like I say, you know, when I'm working with data, a lot of the time my data is sort of saved in different places because it makes sense to be saved in different places on my computer, you know, and I don't necessarily want it all in the same place on my same in the same folder, just for the convenience of a working directory. So what happens if I don't do that? Well, first things first, I need to find where that data actually is. I need to find the file path. So if I come back to my bodybuilder's data, and if I just minimize this, you can see this is where it's saved. Now, I just come up, I'm on Windows at the moment. If I come up here, and if I right click, so I'm coming up to the address bar, you see where it says this PC documents are, then data. Okay, basically each time there's an arrow, I'm in a kind of a lower folder. So I just right click on this, and I click copy address. Okay, copy address, then I come back to R. Now, first things first, I'm just going to set up the directory which I want to work out, as I'm going to save it as a label, okay, and I'm just going to click Control V because I've just copied that address, okay, and I need to save this as text, so I'm just going to put them in quotation marks. Now, there's one thing that I need to change, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not too much work. Basically, you can see how when I've copied it in, it's come in as backslashes. R doesn't recognise the backslashes. So first things first, I need to go through and I need to change them all to forward slashes. But basically every time there's a forward slash, I'm going into a lower and lower folder. So the first thing is C, that tells me which drive I'm in, then users, then A, then documents, then R, then data. Okay, so that's my directory. Next, I need to actually find that file within that folder, within that directory. So I need to give it a name, so I'm going to call it bodybuilder. Okay, and I'm going to use the function file.path, okay, and that tells me the file path. So that means now I can use this directory, so directory, okay, and now I can find that file. So now I can just type that file. So what was it called again? So it's called bodybuilders, but I also need the extension. It was a text document. It's called so it's called bodybuilders.txt. It's just that my Windows machine has automatically hidden that extension, that .txt. Okay, so I need to make sure that I include .txt. Just like if you open up a Word document, you've got the name of the Word document, then you've got .doc. Or if you've got an Excel document, you might have the Excel document .csv. I can't remember whether it is CSV, or just like an image file .jpeg. It's hidden it, but it should be in there so that R knows when to load it in. So let's put that back in. So I just type quotation marks, bodybuilders, all lowercase, because it's all lowercase in the file name, bodybuilders.txt. Now I'm in a position where I can actually read this file into R. So because it's a text document, there's a couple of ways that I can do it. The easiest way which I like, is with the read.table command. I mean, there are other ones, there are like read.dlim and there's scan. If it's a CSV file, I think you can use read.csv. I preferred using read.table. Sure, you have to put in more arguments, but to be honest with you, it's as long as it's constructed in a sensible way, it should work. If it doesn't work for you, there's plenty of stuff on the internet. Like I say, R is open source, so you know, know, if it's not working, just do a Google search and you'll probably find something. So, okay, read.table, it's a function, so open the parentheses. And first of all, in there, I'm going to put the name of my file. So I'm going to put file equals bodybuilder, because now I've got my file, there we go. So file set up to be in this directory with this file name. Every time I use the word bodybuilders, it will know this is the file that I'm talking about. Okay, a few other arguments I want to specify. First things first, I need to specify that actually the first row of my table of my data is text. Okay, it's actually just the headers. It's the column names of the table, really. You know, you've got the weight, the height, the urine, the energy, etc., etc., etc. Okay, the first row should be specified as the header. Okay, so I need to tell R that that is a header. So I just do that with header equals true. So that now says header is true. The first line of my data is just a header. Okay, so now I'm in a position whereby I can now just click source. Okay, and then it will load that data into R. So I can just double check. If I click BB, then there's my data. It's all in R. Okay, so there's all my data. It's all in R. And you can see that now R has actually formatted the data correctly into sort of proper columns. Okay, so I've got the first bodybuilder, weight 96.6, the height is 187.7, 6.7, 0.54 is the renal nectar acid, I don't know, protein intake, urine intake as well. And I think it extends down here. So the phosphorus intake comes down here, the ammonium, nitric acid, because it doesn't all fit into sort of the width of the console. So yeah, so that's how to load in a file into R. Now we can start doing a bit of statistics with it.